my real name is Sibongiseni Makubane, but Bo is simple because a lot of people struggle to say my whole name. So it's easier to say Bo. I'm from South Africa. I was a university student and I studied international studies, mainly on French and political science. So the reason why I wanted to participate as a volunteer is because I feel that I can actually, I can actually like lend my skills, but at the same time, bettering myself in every aspect that I can. So with this, I feel that it offers me both. So I can learn about different cultures, different ethnicities, different people. So I feel that in this way, I can learn a lot, but at the same time, I can also help in my way. So that's why I wanted to be a volunteer.
Okay, that's fantastic. And well, you're here to present a bit of your perspective. I think everyone is really interested on knowing a bit about South Africa. Africa is a uncharted territory for us from South America. So, well, please, if you share your screen, we are waiting for you.
Okay,
Okay.
no problem. So can you guys see my screen?
Yes, perfectly.
Okay, so this is a map of South Africa. So here, you see the representation of South Africa. It's divided into 9 provinces. So maybe in other places, people would say regions. So here in South Africa, we say provinces. So there are 9 provinces. So here, as you can see, it's KwaZulu-Natal, Eastern Cape, Western Cape, Free State, Northwest, Limpopo, Northern Cape, and Mpumalanga. So for me, I come from KwaZulu-Natal, but I will talk about it a bit, not yet. So South Africa is made up of 59.86 million people. So there are like 11 official languages, including English, but English is used as the language of communication between different ethnic groups, as we have different ethnic groups in different provinces. So, for example, KwaZulu-Natal, we have the Zulu tribe, and in other places like Eastern Cape, we have the Xhosa tribe. And then in Free State, we have like like the Sotho tribe. I'm not going to get into details about all of the tribes that are in South Africa, but this is just like a small representation of different tribes. Okay, so South Africa has 3 neighboring countries. So you have Namibia, you have Botswana, and then you have Zimbabwe. But also you have countries like Mozambique and Swatini, but now it's called Swaziland. That are like close to the South African borders. And then you have a country that is internally within South Africa known as Lesotho, which is here close to KwaZulu-Natal and Free State. Um, okay, so here, so this is the national flag. So as you can see, it has a lot of colors. So the black, yellow, and green represent the colors of the ruling party, which is known as the ANC. So in South Africa, we have a multi-party system where we elect a party that will lead the country. So, which is why so the reason why we have the colors of the ANC on the flag is because it was known as a political movement in the 60s, 70s, when they were fighting for liberation and against the apartheid system. So the reason why it was done like this, to kind of like add the colors into the flag, was because it was to show the significance of the party and the reason why the party was important. And then you look at the blue and whites and the red. So those colors represent the other party that is the largest one, the second largest one, sorry, which is the Democratic Alliance. But it also represents the colors of the flag of the United Kingdom, as we have people who come from the ancestry. Sorry. So we have people who come from the United Kingdom, and they came here, and now we just have the colors on the flag as to kind of like represent their ancestry in a way. Okay. So as I said about the ANC, so the ANC, it was a liberation movement before it became a political party. It was formed in 1912. It was rebellious against the apartheid government, as it was oppressing a lot of Black people back then. So from April 1960 and February 1990, it was banned, as they saw it was a threat to their system. So they had to go into exile, most of them, but other members of the party were arrested and they served time in prison until February 1990. So the president of the ANC as of late is Cyril Ramaphosa. He is also the president of South Africa right now. And then we have the Democratic Alliance. So this one was, at the beginning, it was known as the National Party, which was against the movement that the ANC created back then. So they were anti-ANC, and they changed their name in 1994 to the Democratic Alliance to signify a change in the regime and the new system that was put in place. So this year, along with the ANC, they decided to form a government national unity due to the fact that they both lost popular votes, meaning that they had to form a coalition as to run the country together. Okay, so as I said, I was going to talk about KwaZulu-Natal.
Yes.
So this is where I was born, KwaZulu-Natal, but specifically I was born in a city called Pietermaritzburg. I hope you guys can see it on the map.
Yeah, we see it.
Okay, so I was born in Pietermaritzburg. This is where I grew up most of my life. But now, as of late, I'm living in a city called Durban.
Okay.
Okay. So as I talked about the neighboring countries, so a neighboring country that is close to KwaZulu-Natal is Eswatini, which is Swaziland, and also Lesotho. Okay. So this is Pietermaritzburg, which is the capital city of KwaZulu-Natal. In Zulu, we usually call it Umgungundlovu, but it's not really a tourist attraction, but it is the capital city of KwaZulu-Natal. So here, I don't think you can see all of the subsections it's divided into, but it has a lot of sections, mainly the places where a lot of people from different ethnic backgrounds live, and this is how they usually divide it. So most of the people who look like me usually live in places called townships. And then we have Durban, which is the largest city in KwaZulu-Natal. And you can find this on the east coast of South Africa. So it was known as Port Natal due to it being close to the Indian Ocean. I'm sorry, I should have explained that. So the Indian Ocean allowed a lot of people who are coming from outside of South Africa to enter in this port. Are there any questions before I continue?
Okay. Now I think this is a perspective of South Africa and your region.
Yes.
Is probably is clear because I know you, but for the audience, let's say you came from an area of South Africa where Zulu, isiZulu, is the main language, right? So
Yes.
your mother tongue is isiZulu.
Yes.
Yes. Okay. So let's do a demonstration to our audience. How isiZulu sounds? Can you be
okay.
so nice and give us a short presentation of yourself in isiZulu?
Okay. So I can do that. So sanibonani, igama lami nginguSibongiseni Makubane, ngiqhamuka eThekwini, KwaZulu-Natal. So what I said was, good day, everyone. My name is Sibongiseni Makubane. I come from Durban in KwaZulu-Natal.
Okay, that's lovely. So to everyone, Bo, because I can't say his name, born in this area of South Africa, which is a bilingual area. Okay, everyone speaks Zulu, is Zulu, and then they have to learn English. Okay, so you study in English, and I think this is the second part of your presentation, so I don't want to step in. Okay, so go ahead and thank you for this introduction to South Africa.
Okay. So Durban is divided into a lot of diverse heritage. So you have the Zulu tribe, you have Indian people, you have white people, and then you have colored people. Well, I think I would say biracial in a way, to kind of like make it easier for people who might not understand. So like biracial, a mixture of white and black. So in South Africa, we use English as a medium of communication, since a lot of people don't really like the idea of speaking to other people in their native tongues. So for example, if I go to another region and they speak another language there, then it may be difficult for me to communicate with them. But unless we all understand English, then it becomes easier for everyone, even though a lot of people probably don't like English that much. Okay. So I think everyone almost knows Nelson Mandela. So he was an anti-apartheid activist. So he was a member of the African National Congress. He served 27 years in prison, was the first Black president from 1994 to 1999. In 2013, he passed away. Okay, so I think I can move on to the next other figure. So in KwaZulu-Natal, we have Shaka Zulu, who was the main figure in KwaZulu-Natal, and he was a leader before colonization came along. So he was known as the founder of the Zulu nation from 1816 to 1828. So he was born in 1788. So he was responsible for the military system. So we had like a military system that we used back then, but he found a way to change it in a way that kind of like helped a revolution within the Zulu nation, and it also helped put him into kind of like power. So the system was called Ibutho Lempi. So that means the fighting units. So Shaka Zulu was responsible for bringing different Zulu clans to form a single clan, which was complete. So in 1928, he was assassinated by his brothers, Dingane and Mhlangan. So before I continue, does anyone have any questions, or can I just continue?
I think everything is pretty clear. And we hear Shaka Zulu many times. So it's a name we are related to. And probably we do not know what it means for you. So it's really good to know he was a big man from your history. So go ahead, please.
Okay. Okay, so to us, he was a symbol of hope in a sense and a symbol of unity. Okay, so I think I can move to the next part. So I don't know about how other countries are with in terms of like symbols. So here we have a national coat of arms, which is a symbol which kind of like signifies a lot of the important elements in South Africa. So, for example, you have the rising sun, you have wheat, and then you have the elephant's tusk, and you have the secretary bird, and then you have the spear and knobkerrie. And then you have the protea flower, and then you have the shield, which shows two people. With those two people are sorry. So those two people are a resemblance of the old San people who were our traditional ancestors before everything else. And then you have an inscription which says Ke e Sarake, which means that diverse people unite. So all of these are a symbol of South Africa and what it represents and what we consider the most important sources that we look at, and they describe South Africa in a sense.
Okay.
Okay. Okay.
Okay.
Okay. So this is a university that I went to from 2017 until 2021. So it's known as University of KwaZulu-Natal, and you can find it in KwaZulu-Natal, the province. So it is divided into 5 campuses across KwaZulu-Natal. So it was formed on the 1st of January 2004 due to the merge of University of Natal and University of Durban Westville. So before it was University of KwaZulu-Natal, it was divided into 2 parts. So it was University of Natal and University of Durban Westville. So they decided to combine it into one. Okay. So here, as you can see, this is our national currency, which is known as the rand. As you can see here, it has Nelson Mandela's face. So I don't know what currency is used in other countries, but for a better explanation, 20 rand is almost equivalent to $1 in a sense. I hope that explains something. So are there any questions before I continue?
Not really. I think, but I think we are okay. You have 4 more slides to go, and there is a couple of interesting questions we have to address.
Okay.
And so 5 more minutes for you, 3 minutes, and go for questions. Okay.
Okay. So would it be possible if I just do the next one and then maybe I can probably answer the questions?
Oh, okay.
Since I'm kind of like going over time.
No. Don't worry. So finish your give me a second. I will answer here an email. Someone who really wants to go in and can't. Okay, so finish and we go for questions. Don't worry.
Okay. Okay. So here we have the 5 most important animals in South Africa. They are known as the Big 5. So as you can see, there's the lion, there's the leopard, there's the rhino, and then there's the elephant, and lastly, there's the buffalo. So with rhinos, we are at a point of not having rhinos. They're almost extinct due to a lot of poaching and stuff. Because a lot of people want to exploit their horns in the black market. Okay.
That's really sad.
I think we're used to it. Okay, so this is the transport system.
Okay.
So here, as you can see, we have minibuses, but here we call them taxis. So these are the things that we use when we want to travel locally. And then when you want to travel to another region, you can either use a bus or an airplane. Or maybe you can use your own car. So not every region has the train system that Gauteng has. I hope you guys still remember Gauteng, the region. So unfortunately, every other region doesn't have this train system where we can use trains to go from one place to another. Okay. Okay. So this is how a normal classroom would look in South Africa. So usually schools start from 7:45 a.m. to 3:30 p.m. So usually that's from elementary school to high school. So in classrooms, the maximum is 55, but the minimum is usually around the 40 region. Okay. So today being a South African is very challenging, specifically if you are young like me. because the high level of employment is really draining, and you just don't know how everything is going to work out. And then the disconnect between the youth and elders because of political beliefs. A lot of elders feel that the youth should still look up to the ANC, and then the youth feels that the ANC hasn't really done much to help anyone. So South Africa is usually known as a rainbow nation, but as of late, it doesn't feel like it's united that much because there are a lot of things that are happening, and the government doesn't seem to necessarily care. And the government in its own rights is divided, and they just don't know how to be a unit, and they don't know how to work together. So for me,
But we have a couple of questions here. Came from a diverse country with different languages, and
yes.
We really try to figure out how it feels be in a community, in a Zulu community, in your case, your mother tongue, and communicate with the state in a different language, which is not your own. How that feel? It feels weird. Explain a bit that particular issue.
Okay. So for me, I think knowing English helps a lot because I feel like I'm open to communicating with a lot of people from different backgrounds. But then again, it's like here, there's a lot of people who are so obsessed with just people learning Zulu, our language. So it's like they treat Zulu as the South African version of English in a sense.
Okay. So some people think Zulu have to be have to be at the place of English in South Africa because it's the most or widely spoken language inside South Africa. Could be.
Well, specifically in KwaZulu-Natal. So
Oh,
they just want to use Zulu more than anything.
okay. And your opinion as an internationalist, which you are, how do you think that should be?
I think that it has advantages and disadvantages because one, if we do use that, then that means everyone can be comfortable and everyone will understand a lot of things easier. But then it's also this thing where like everyone just feels that sense of being too important and that they actually discredit other traditions, ethnicities, and cultures and values. So those are the most things that are kind of like complicated right now.
Okay, so we as a human being, we must find a balance in between tradition, mother tongue, and identity, and those new things as English. Somebody call English.
Okay. I'm sorry. So, can you repeat the question again?
Yeah. Strategies, which ones, and educational level we can implement it to preserve, to maintain the diversity inside South Africa in this case?
So for me, I think maybe using English as much as like it's a colonial language. I feel that trying to use English and for us here in my region, trying to use both of them as a means of relaying a message is very important. But then it's very difficult too because not everyone can do that fluently, and not everyone is going to understand everything easy. So there's that problem. So I think if we can try to like start this at elementary, then maybe it can work. But then also we have to understand that other regions have their own languages. So maybe they can also try to like use their languages to kind of like form an intermediate part with English, just so people can actually find a way to understand everything and also find a way to relay their messages without feeling like they're losing their identity.
Okay, that's fantastic. And everything is related to not lose our identities. So
Yes.
when you go to school, you study only in English, or do you have bilingual method? Sorry.
Okay. So most of the subjects that I used to do in school were in English, besides my native language, Zulu.
Okay.
So everything else was in English, but everything else was in English, but Zulu was the only one that we didn't necessarily try to change in a sense.
Okay, so you have one class in Zulu, and the rest of lessons like history, language, mathematics, everything in English.
Yes.
So you start since ever studying in English, right?
Yes.
Okay. How do you feel? Because you are really young, you are Gen Z, you are 23 years old or something like that. I don't remember clearly. So you feel more comfortable in English, and you navigate Zulu as well because it's your mother tongue, it's your family language, it's your community language. So you navigate both languages pretty clearly. How do you feel about that elderly feeling again, that English is taking over Zulu language? Because elders are worried always about the roots and traditions and that kind of things. How you manage, how you see that? Your opinion, your personal opinion, please.
Okay. So for me, I never really had a problem kind of like you learning things in English. The problem for me would be how can I take those things that I learned in English and try to like translate them for someone who probably has a better understanding of Zulu more so than English. So that's always my biggest problem. But with English, I never really had a problem learning things in English. So my biggest problem was trying to like figure out how I would explain something in Zulu, in a sense.
Oh, okay. So okay, this is a complicated question because could be misunderstand. Okay, forget it. Let's move a bit because we are on time. Anything you want to add on top of this about Zulu language and or Zulu community and its relation with South Africa as a country, and how you feel this, let's say, age gap, elders and young people, how do you see that? Sorry.
Okay. So with the elders feel that the youth has really lost touch of the traditions, since like most of the youth is more adaptive to the English language more so than Zulu, because English is the one language that we use for a lot of things. So in terms of like employment opportunities, like maybe trying to find something overseas and stuff. So this is the one thing that we try to do. We try to better ourselves by making sure that we master English so we can actually have a wider opportunity to kind of like look externally more so than internally.
Okay. But as an elder myself, okay, I will recommend you to fight for your own language and your roots. In between linguistics, there is a different opinions on that. Some people think language is not related, have no relation with the way you see the world. And other people like myself think language reflected your own culture and reflected also your perspective in life. Okay, so that different perspectives give you an opportunity across this world. So